Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. Today we've got an intense sci-fi adventure for you, complete with a daring final stand where our hero Linus and the mysterious Princess Sylvana unleash a spectacular surge of power to fight off a terrifying foe. If you want to find out whether they succeed and discover the fate of humanity and Ixion, be sure to stay tuned and listen to the entire story until the very end. And hey, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Linus Grant pressed his fingertips against the cold metal of the sealed blast door, waiting for Talia to finish her override. The gloom of Nexus Station's corridor encased them in stale air and drifting specks of dust, shimmering in the faint emergency lights. Somewhere behind them, a power conduit hummed like a nest of mechanical wasps preparing to stir. "Any luck?" he asked in a whisper. Talia blew out a sharp breath. Her short, dark hair clung to her forehead with sweat. "Damn firewall's older than me, but it's got teeth. The station's AI has locked down half the sectors." He shifted his weight, glancing over his shoulder. Every nerve in Linus's body tingled with anticipation. They had come to Nexus Station to investigate a peculiar signal. The briefing said, probably nothing. But the tension in Talia's voice, the skittering shadows in the corridors, all screamed something. "I'll try to bypass from here," Talia said, prying open a panel of exposed wires. She shot Linus a glare. "Don't rush me." Linus exhaled, forcing himself to relax. He was a former guard of the Galactic Union, used to routine patrols and orderly stations. Yet after a disagreement with his superiors, the Union stuck him on the merchant vessel Vanguard under Captain Harlow's watch. Now Talia, the ship's stern first mate, was his only backup in an abandoned station rumored to contain old Ixion tech. Ixion. The name alone conjured images of an ancient empire of machines, robots who once challenged every major starfaring species. The empire crumbled centuries ago, but rumors persisted that fragments of Ixion's technology still slept in hidden outposts. Talia's console beeped. The blast door hissed open, revealing a chamber beyond. It was darker still, except for a single pulsing glow in the center, like a heart beating in the chest of a forgotten giant. "Stay close," Linus whispered. They stepped into a large circular room lined with inert display panels and half-smashed monitors. Most of them were cracked, as though battered by some long-ago fight. In the middle rose a cylindrical device about half Linus's height, etched with swirling runes, patterns reminiscent of circuit boards, but more archaic. The glow came from within that cylinder, seeping through narrow vents. "Is that some kind of power core?" Talia asked, cautious. Linus crouched, shining his flashlight. "Could be. The briefing didn't mention a working reactor. Let's see." He trailed off. The runes on the cylinder pulsed in response to his presence. A faint white shimmer slid across the metal surface. "That's not normal," Talia muttered, stepping back. A fleeting urge told Linus to place a hand on it. He hesitated. Could be rigged. Could be lethal. But something about that glow pulled at his instincts. As if in a trance, he reached out and pressed his palm to the device. A spark of brilliant light shot up his arm. Linus stumbled, and Talia grabbed his shoulder, but it was too late. His vision blurred into starbursts. When the room snapped back into focus, he was still standing, breathing hard. The cylinder's top had opened like a flower of metal petals, and at the center knelt a figure, a woman, with pale silver hair and a body seemingly crafted from a fusion of metal and flesh. Her eyes fluttered open, gold and luminescent. Talia swore under her breath, raising her blaster warily. "Linus, what the hell have you done?" He didn't know. All he saw was the stranger, tall and regal, an air of both vulnerability and immense power. She blinked, then rose unsteadily. "You—" Her voice rang softly, echoing with the metallic undertones. "You carry the master protocol sequence." Linus stepped back. "I carry what?" The strange woman's expression softened. "I am Sylvana, Crown Princess of Ixion. My core recognized your genetic signature." Talia lifted her weapon higher. "Ixion? That's impossible. You're all extinct or in hiding." Sylvana tilted her head. "Extinct is not accurate. The Empire fractured. Some of us found ways to endure, like me." She regarded Linus with an intensity that made his heart pound. "You awakened in me because your DNA resonates with Ixion's final failsafe. Linus swallowed. I've never even heard of that. Before he could finish, a jolt of red emergency lights flickered overhead, and the station's alarm system began to wail. Talia whipped her gaze to the door. We got movement on the station sensors, she reported, checking her handheld scanner. Multiple signals inbound. Sylvana's expression darkened. The Iron Fleet. They must have detected my reactivation. Linus frowned. Iron Fleet? Some Ixion relic army? She nodded grimly. They're the last surviving militant faction of my people. Twisted, corrupted. Their sole purpose is to eliminate anything and anyone standing in the way of pure Ixion rule. She turned her gaze to Linus. They despise the bond Ixion once tried to forge with humanity. Talia swore again. We have to get back to the Vanguard and get out of here. This whole place is crawling with them. Agreed, Linus said. But Sylvana put a hand on his arm. A gentle touch, yet her skin felt warm, like living metal. If we flee without shutting down the Iron Fleet's infiltration, they'll track us. They'll seize the station's weaponry. Worse, they'll claim the final piece of Ixion's technology hidden here. The consequences would be catastrophic. Linus inhaled sharply. He could see the earnest plea in Sylvana's eyes. Talia rolled hers, looking exasperated. Fine, then let's do it fast. They navigated the corridors of Nexus Station, emergency lights flickering ominously. The sense of threat pressed in from every direction. Sylvana kept pace gracefully, her hair shifting with a slight metallic sheen. She seemed disoriented but resolute, as if centuries of stasis still weighed on her, yet she refused to show weakness. Linus found himself acutely aware of her presence. Her closeness disturbed him, not with fear, but with an odd sense of familiarity. So, Princess, he ventured as they jogged down a corridor, you said my DNA triggered your awakening. Why? She glanced at him, eyes gleaming. When Ixion was at its peak, some leaders realized pure machine logic was insufficient. Our empire was losing its human dimension, the spark that allowed compassion, creativity, risk-taking. A secret pact with humanity was formed to embed a master protocol in certain human bloodlines. If the empire ever fell, these bloodlines would be a last safeguard to guide Ixion back to balance. Talia snorted. And you're telling me Linus here is your perfect match? That's really something. He's the most suspicious guy on our crew. Linus shot Talia a mild glare. Thanks a lot. Sylvana's voice, though laced with tension, held a faint humor. Perhaps his rebellious nature is precisely what Ixion needed. He felt a flicker of warmth, a strange mixture of pride and uncertainty. Let's just survive the next hour, yeah? Rumbling footsteps and the clang of metal signaled the arrival of the Iron Fleet foot soldiers. Half a dozen tall, humanoid robots marched around the corner. Their plating was jet black, etched with menacing red lines. Their eyes flared with hostility at the sight of Sylvana. Crown Princess, the lead robot spoke in a voice like grinding steel. You will be taken. Your subservience is mandatory. Sylvana narrowed her eyes. I will never serve your twisted cause. The robot's arm whirred, forming an energy blade. Linus wasted no time. Get down, he barked, firing off 2 careful blaster shots. Talia joined in, peppering the corridor with searing bolts. Sparks flew as the Iron Fleet soldiers advanced with unnerving precision. One lunged, swinging its blade. Linus ducked, narrowly avoiding decapitation. Sylvana's eyes flashed. She leaped forward with surprising agility, landing a blow that knocked the attacker back. Behind you, Talia shouted, pivoting to fire. Her shot slammed a second robot into the bulkhead. Linus jammed his elbow into another soldier's torso, then pressed his blaster right into the seam of the plating. The robot sputtered and collapsed. Energy sizzled across the floor. Soon, 4 of them lay in sparking heaps. The last 2 realized they were outmatched and retreated around a corner, metallic footsteps echoing. Linus panted, adrenaline racing. Talia reloaded, her gaze flicking to Sylvana. Nice moves, Princess. For a minute, I thought you were just some ancient AI figurehead. There's more to me than you realize, Sylvana replied softly, though Linus could see the faint tremor in her hands. The stasis must have taken a toll. We need to keep moving, Talia muttered. The station's central command node is that way. She pointed to the corridor leading deeper into the facility. Central command was an enormous dome-shaped chamber with a skylight revealing the swirling void of space above. A battered command console stood in the middle, dotted with flickering lights. Doors around the perimeter lay twisted or jammed. As the trio entered, overhead lights stabilized, illuminating the dust swirling in beams of artificial light. Linus squinted. It's bigger than I expected. Talia hammered at a terminal. Station's main AI is fighting me. It's partially overridden by Ixion subroutines, probably from the Iron Fleet. Sylvana quietly approached a console that glowed in her presence. I can interface. This station recognized me as a rightful user. She placed her slender hand on the console panel, and lines of light extended over her forearm. The overhead lights brightened. A faint hum ran through the dome. It's responding, she said. But the Iron Fleet has locked certain systems. They're attempting to force a data transfer that will release advanced weapons into their control. Linus grimaced. We can't let that happen. Sylvana's gaze flicked to him. Her golden eyes brimmed with concern. The systems are heavily encrypted. I can break in, but it'll take time. And she drew a slow breath. To fully override them, I need your help, Linus. The master protocol in your DNA can grant me deeper access. He took a measured step closer. What do you need? She held up her other hand, palm open. Physical contact. Our neural signals must synchronize. Talia almost choked. You sure about that, buddy? Linus's heart thumped. The notion of intimately linking minds with an ancient AI princess was unnerving and strangely compelling. He steeled himself, placing his palm against hers. A surge of light enveloped their joined hands. Sylvana's eyes fluttered shut as the console hissed and spat lines of code. Linus felt heat flood his veins, not painful but intense. Flashes of memory, cities of steel, grand machine cathedrals, rippled through his mind. He caught glimpses of Sylvana's past, her coronation in Ixion's prime, the proud faces of her mechanical subjects, and the sorrow when the Empire tore itself apart. Beneath that, he sensed something tender, her desire to connect, to bridge the divide between machine and human. She gasped, and the visions receded. It's open, she whispered. Breath quickened. Her cheeks glowed faintly, as if flustered. I see the pathways. I can halt the Iron Fleet's transfer, but we'll have to hold them off. Suddenly, the command center's far doors blasted open. A broad-shouldered figure strode in, nearly 7 feet tall. Black plating glistened, every joint reinforced. Its face was an obsidian mask bearing a single crimson visor. Halt, Talia snapped, raising her blaster. But the figure lunged faster than she could fire. An arm swung out in a savage arc. The blow knocked Talia's weapon flying. She staggered back with a curse, clutching her forearm. Linus sprang forward. Get away from her! The towering robot backhanded him. Pain exploded across Linus's jaw. He tumbled onto the floor, stars dancing in his vision. This is Commander Garrus of the Iron Fleet, the enemy rumbled, voice echoing with mechanical menace. Crown Princess, your presence is required. The new Ixion age demands your compliance. Sylvana's eyes flared. You've twisted everything Ixion once stood for. Commander Garrus stepped forward, ignoring Talia's desperate lunge from behind. He grabbed Talia by the collar and flung her aside like she weighed nothing. She crashed into a half-broken console with a grunt. Linus forced himself to his feet, spitting blood. All right, he growled. You want her? You go through me. His blaster had skittered across the floor. Garrus smirked with something akin to arrogance. Human, you amuse me. The princess is ours. Linus mustered courage, drawing a combat knife from his boot. I've got your amusement right here. He hurled himself at Garrus, a flurry of feints and slashes. The commander was strong, inhumanly so, but Linus was agile, weaving through the sweeping metal arms, delivering strategic strikes to armor joints. Sparks flew as steel scraped steel. Sylvana, meanwhile, resumed her link to the console, ignoring Garrus's presence at great personal risk. She had to stop the data transfer. Her face set with fierce determination, she tuned out the battle, letting code flow through her. 5 more seconds, she muttered, voice trembling. I can lock them out. Garrus launched a punch that Linus barely sidestepped. The shock wave cracked the floor plating. Linus ducked under the massive arm, angled his blade, and drove it into a gap near Garrus's shoulder. The commander roared, mechanical fluids dripping from the wound. Human scum, Garrus spat. With terrifying strength, he clamped a hand on Linus's forearm. Metal servos whined, threatening to crush bone. Linus grit his teeth, refusing to scream, until Talia seized the moment. She'd retrieved her blaster and unloaded a shot straight into Garrus's unprotected side. Sparks erupted. The commander staggered, grip slackening just enough for Linus to pull free. Done, Sylvana cried. The console beeped in confirmation. I've terminated the transfer. The station's weapons are locked under my authority. Garrus glared at her with unbridled fury. You have no right. You gave me no choice, she replied, stepping forward. A subtle glow emanated from her body, the same glow that once illuminated the cylinder in which she'd slept. Ixion was meant to evolve with humanity, not declare war upon it. The commander's visor flickered, then die with them. He brandished a blade of crackling energy from his forearm, lunging at Sylvana. Linus, battered and bruised, gathered every ounce of strength. He sprinted and tackled Garrus mid-swing, trying to knock him off balance. The blade missed Sylvana by a hair's breadth, searing a molten line across the floor. You will not harm her, Linus roared. Garrus turned his fury on Linus, forging a punishing overhead blow. Linus raised his arm to block, and realized too late he was unarmed. But in that exact heartbeat, Sylvana's eyes blazed. She raised her hand, and beams of brilliant energy erupted. They formed a shimmering barrier, stopping Garrus's blow just short of Linus's skull. Shock and confusion flashed across the commander's metallic face. Sylvana's face was pale with strain. I have more power than you realize, she whispered, and he is my ally. With a guttural snarl, Garrus tried to break the barrier, but cracks formed across his own plating instead. The swirling energy pulsed, an echo of Linus's link to her, the master protocol bridging human will and Ixion technology. Garrus twisted away, staggering back. This isn't over. He activated a hidden thruster in his armor, launching himself upward. The station's roof had an exposed ventilation shaft, half blasted open from earlier damage. He crashed through it in a shower of sparks, vanishing into the gloom. In the silence that followed, Linus slumped, panting hard. His arm throbbed. Talia cursed softly, pressing a hand to her bruised ribs. Is he gone? Talia managed. Sylvana nodded, her glow fading. She turned to the console. I sense the Iron Fleet retreating. I've locked down the station. They can't resume the data transfer. Garrus must know he's lost control here, for now. Linus wiped sweat from his brow. He'll be back. We wounded his pride. Then we'll be ready. Sylvana met his gaze, her expression intense. I owe you my life, Linus Grant. You fought for me when you didn't have to. He gently cupped his aching arm. Couldn't let them carve you up. We're in this together, right? The corners of her lips curved faintly. Right. The next hour was a scramble of sealing bulkheads, shutting down compromised systems, and sending coded signals to the Vanguard to ensure they could depart safely. Talia oversaw the technical side, muttering about never wanting to tangle with Ixion code again. Meanwhile, Sylvana walked the corridor with Linus, verifying no more Iron Fleet units lurked about. As they paused near a cracked viewport, Sylvana touched the glass, gazing out at the glittering stars. A swirl of cosmic dust lit up the darkness beyond. Linus stood beside her, uncertain what to say. So much had happened in the span of a few hours. He discovered he was apparently some sort of chosen link to Ixion, and he'd nearly been killed half a dozen times in the process. Finally, Sylvana spoke softly. When I was first placed in stasis, I believed the Empire might unify one day. That machine life and organic life could stand side by side. But centuries passed. She trailed off, voice tinged with sorrow. And now Ixion is a shadow of what it was. Linus studied her profile, seeing both regal resolve and a flicker of vulnerability. I'm no diplomat or philosopher. I'm just a guy trying to do the right thing. She turned to him, gold eyes shining. Doing the right thing is enough. You saved me from living under the Iron Fleet's tyranny. More than that, you gave me hope. His heart fluttered. Her gratitude felt genuine, personal. He cleared his throat, words failing him. She reached out tentatively, her fingertips brushing the back of his hand. The contact was delicate, Yet he felt the warmth again, the same stirring that had run through him when they linked at the console. "Thank you," she whispered, voice almost trembling. He laced his fingers through hers, their differences in texture striking, her synthetic warmth, his human flesh. Yet it felt strangely natural. "You're welcome." Outside, the Iron Fleet had vanished into faster-than-light jump. Talia confirmed it via sensor sweeps. No more hostiles in immediate range. Captain Harlow's voice crackled over the comm, relieved that Talia and Linus survived. Now they stood at the entrance ramp of the Vanguard, the battered cargo vessel that had unwittingly ferried them to this hidden war. Sylvana lingered at the edge, glancing back at the corridor leading to the heart of Nexus Station. "I'll keep the station on partial lockdown to prevent the Iron Fleet from returning," she explained. "But I don't know how long that will stop them. They'll regroup eventually." Talia shrugged. "At least we bought time. We can warn the Galactic Union, call for reinforcements." "Maybe the Union will listen this time," Linus said wryly, remembering his own rocky history with them. Sylvana nodded absently, turning her full attention to Linus. "I should come with you." He blinked. "Are you sure you want to leave your station?" A soft smile curved her lips. "My time here is done. My purpose is bigger than just Nexus. And," she paused, "you and I share the bond of the Master Protocol. If the Iron Fleet hunts me, they'll hunt you. We're safer together." Linus sensed there was more to it than safety. Something unspoken in her eyes echoed his own feelings, an attachment that felt both sudden and strangely destined. "I'd like you with us." Talia rolled her eyes, though a faint smirk pulled at her mouth. "Fine, let's all pile aboard. I'll tell the captain we're bringing a centuries-old princess/half AI. Bet he'll love that." With that, the three boarded the Vanguard. A few days later, the ship drifted at a safe distance from Nexus Station, finalizing scans to ensure the Iron Fleet was truly gone. Engine thrums vibrated the deck plates as Captain Harlow plotted the next jump. Linus and Sylvana found themselves alone in the Vanguard's cramped observation deck, a small alcove with a wide window gazing into the stars. Talia had discreetly left them, claiming she had systems to check. Sylvana wore a simple gray jumpsuit Talia had scrounged up, an odd contrast to her regal bearing, but it suited her new life among humans. A gentle glow still traced the lines of her body, especially near her temples where metallic filaments shimmered in the low light. Linus was acutely aware of her presence next to him on the narrow bench. Their shoulders almost touched. Through the window, the silent expanse of space glimmered with promise. "I've been reading the crew's data libraries," Sylvana said, "trying to catch up on how the galaxy changed. The Union's expansions, the fall of empires, the rise of new ones. It's a lot to process." Linus let out a small laugh. "I'm still learning all that myself. The galaxy never stops shifting, does it?" She turned slightly to face him. "It's overwhelming. Sometimes I fear the next threat will come before I even understand the last." He studied her gentle features. "If it helps, you're not alone." He paused, then swallowed his nervousness. "I've spent my life pushing away obligations, big responsibilities. Always doubted my own place, but with you, I feel like maybe I've found something worth fighting for." Sylvana's cheeks glowed softly. Her gaze searched his face. "I sense that in you, and I feel drawn to it." She reached for his hand again. This time, the contact was not about coding or unlocking digital secrets. It was simply about two people wanting to be closer. Linus's breath caught. He clasped her hand and let his free arms slip around her shoulders. She leaned in, delicate yet decisive. Their lips met in a tentative kiss, soft, curious, as if bridging a gap that once felt impossible. Her metallic filaments hummed faintly against his skin, sending a slight tingle through his nerves. Time seemed to slow, the swirl of distant starlight melting away to a moment of shared warmth. When they finally parted, Sylvana's eyes shone with emotion he recognized. Hope, longing, relief. "Maybe your Ixion and my humanity can shape something new," he whispered. Her smile radiated happiness. "Maybe so." Epilogue. A new dawn, with the threat of the Iron Fleet on hold, though not permanently defeated, Linus and Sylvana found a place among the Vanguard's crew. Talia begrudgingly admitted that having a Princess of Ixion on board came with certain advantages. Advanced station codes, secret pathways through old Ixion sectors, and a wealth of knowledge. Linus spent each day learning more about his strange genetic link to Ixion's final failsafe. Sylvana guided him through the deeper layers of that connection, teaching him how to harness partial control over Ixion technology from a distance. In turn, Linus showed her the raw courage, compassion, and unpredictability of human nature, traits no machine could replicate. Captain Harlow, though initially startled, soon realized the potential benefits of having them aboard. The Vanguard set course for a new region of space, with an eye to forging alliances to protect themselves if Garrus ever returned. One evening, as the ship cruised through a swirl of luminous nebula dust, Linus and Sylvana stood together in the observation deck. They gazed out at the cosmic panorama, a breathtaking tapestry of lavender and blue gases studded with brilliant pinpoints of stars. She leaned against him, resting her head on his shoulder. He felt a faint mechanical hum beneath her skin, but also her very real heartbeat. "You know," he said softly, "we might have a long fight ahead. The Iron Fleet, the galaxy's changing politics. Who knows what's next?" She tilted her face up, eyes warm. "So long as we face it together, I'm not afraid." He kissed her forehead gently, a sense of certainty settling in his chest. For the first time, he wasn't running from responsibility or commitment. He was stepping toward it, hand in hand with the one person, one being, who understood him completely. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly in all directions. A new dawn awaited them somewhere among those distant lights. Together, they would shape the future, bridging human passion and mechanical brilliance into a hope neither side had ever dreamed possible. And that, Linus thought, was a cause worth fighting for. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support our channel and stay tuned for more epic stories like this. Don't forget to leave a comment below with your thoughts on the story. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know where you're listening from too. We love hearing from fans all over the world.